Education in emergencies responses are designed to protect children, allow continuity of learning, and use the opportunity to build back better. This requires understanding the impact of the emergency on education access and quality for different groups, especially the most vulnerable. Finding this out requires conducting assessment and analyses of the situation, needs, assets, and vulnerabilities. The type of emergency and the context will determine the tools and approaches to be used. Wherever possible, education in emergencies assessment and analysis should be done jointly with other actors. This includes government, UN, international and national NGOs through established coordination mechanisms, usually the Education Cluster or EIE Working Group. This approach is more efficient, avoids duplication and minimises the burden on affected populations. Cross-cutting issues like gender, disability, and conflict sensitivity should be incorporated into all types and stages of assessment. These issues can only be addressed if they are properly identified through techniques which meaningfully involve children. Before rushing into conducting primary data collection, a depth review of available secondary data should be done. A secondary data review can help establish a picture of the pre-crisis situation and provide important in-crisis information. It also helps in prioritising the focus for primary data collection and triangulation of the findings. In a rapid onset emergency is usually a multi-sector or multi-agency initial rapid assessment, MIRA. MIRA provides an initial snapshot of the situation for all actors, including education, which can be used to advocate for education support, initiate response planning, and mobilise seed funding. Once the situation is stabilised, a more comprehensive education assessment should take place in order to collect detailed information on education needs in different areas for different groups. This will involve a range of stakeholders: students, teachers, school management, authorities, parents and communities, which also helps triangulation and prioritisation. A problem tree can help identify the key information gaps on which to focus education assessments. Depending on the response phase and the needs of the context, other assessments may also need to be conducted. These should include looking at education-related conflict sensitivities, school safety, teacher needs, student social, emotional and psychosocial support needs, levels of child development, literacy and numeracy. Findings from other sector assessment, for example, child protection, livelihoods, health, nutrition and WASH, should also inform a holistic education in emergencies response design. The process of analysis interprets the data collected into useful information for response planning. There are various approaches to analysing data, including asking key questions like: what happened, where, and how severe is it? Why did it happen? What may happen next? What else do we need to know? Answering these questions involves being aware of vulnerabilities, including those pre-crisis, and are informed by the problem tree analysis. An analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, or SWOT, of the context, community, organisations and programmes can also help ensure that the response is designed to consider existing assets and capabilities and is feasible. We always operate in a resource-constrained environment. this means it is necessary to prioritise areas, groups and interventions and focus on those most in need or at risk. Maintaining this focus requires developing a clear response, aim and objectives based on the analysis conducted. These should align closely with those set by the Education Cluster or EIE Working Group, keeping in mind the overarching EIE aims of protection, continuity and building back better can guide this process. Log frames are the standard project planning tool, but only consider what you can control and not the wider operating environment. As such, they are too narrow for initial program design. Adding potential solutions to your problem tree can be a good starting point, followed by developing a theory of change. A theory of change maps out the potential pathways to change and also considers what you can influence and what you cannot. Once the pathways to achieving the desired change are mapped out, then program log frames, indicators, detailed implementation plans, DIP, Gantt charts and meal frameworks will come next. These are generic program management processes and tools for which guidance can be found in the PMD Pro materials.